Hey guys, welcome back to Bohs Fan TV, and today we're back with another video. And today we're going to be doing a tier list style video. Haven't done one of these in a while actually, but I just thought that considering that we're basically doing very little in the off season in terms of signings and stuff, I'd bring it back. And this one we're going to be looking at the squad for next season and going through whether we think which players should stay, which players should go. Should be an interesting one anyway. I think I have most of the players here. I think I have all the players here. If I'm missing someone, please let me know in the comments. But I think I have everybody here that's still at the club. Obviously, there's a couple that have left since. We know Dane Williams has obviously gone to Shell, so that's one departure. Obviously we've only just signed Dale Rooney, so obviously he won't be in this one. So yeah, I'm just going to go through each player now and say, in my opinion anyway, whether they should stay or go. Look, I know most of the players that I'll probably have in go are gonna stay, probably just given the situation in their contracts, and maybe some of the players that I might want to see stay will go. But look, we'll get into it anyway. We'll start off with the goalkeeper. So we'll start off with Talbot first. Yeah, I think it's a stay. I think that's pretty straightforward. It's I know he's come under a bit of criticism over the past season or so. Look, I know he's dropped a few clangers in games, but I think overall, look, he's a good goalkeeper on his day, isn't he? He's been at the club now, what, 4 or 5 seasons, and yeah, I think he deserves to stay. So yeah, I'd have Talbot to stay. On to Dennison now. Obviously we haven't really seen a whole lot of him. He's only played what 2 games in the Leinster Senior Cup. I'd personally say stay. I just think he's solid enough number two. You know what you're gonna get from him. You know he's probably not gonna play a lot of games. You know he's probably just there to make up the numbers, obviously. So yeah, I think I'd probably have him and stay. Um, okay, we'll go on to Novak now. It's a close one. I'm gonna say go. I just haven't been impressed with him, to be honest with you. Um, I think he's had some good games. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really not convinced by some of the things I saw from him last season. I know he probably will be here next season. I don't know what the situation with his contract is. I know I've seen some things to suggest that he might be here and that he might not, but personally, I just haven't been impressed with him. I think I was expecting a bit better, to be honest. I know look, it's his first season in Ireland, but I don't know. I don't know if we'd be having him around next season. To be honest with you, I just haven't been impressed with him. Next, I'm gonna go with Kim Byrne. Yeah, I think it's a stay. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think when he came into the team at times last season, he impressed. Still only 20 years old, I think. So young enough, and yeah, I'd definitely be keeping him. I think he's got a big future ahead of him, and he's definitely going to be. I think he'd probably be one of our starting centre backs next season, without a doubt. So yeah, pretty easy stay for me. Paddy Kirk next. I'm gonna say stay. I just think, although yeah, he probably wasn't great for large parts of last season, I'd probably keep him around. I just think I know his performances weren't great, like I said, but I think overall he is quite decent. I know he came under criticism last season, and yeah, look, he had a few poor games where he went on bad runs without, without without being effective, and he was a little bit dodgy defensively, but I think I'd keep him. I just think it's first season back at the club. No one really it wasn't a great season, and we had a lot of poor performers, but I'd be keeping him for next season personally. I think that's Bart there. Yeah, I'm gonna say stay. Yeah, I thought he did quite well. I thought he impressed when he first came into the team. Obviously, when we signed him in the summer, I thought he impressed. He looked decent. He's a player that he can tell has ability. He's a good defender, but he can also offer you something going forward. So yeah, I think we'd keep him for next season. I think he will stay anyway. I think because he's only been here since the summer, so he probably will be staying. Akintunde, um, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say go. it's a shame it hasn't worked out for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was here now come next season, but he just hasn't quite got into the team. I don't know if the vinyl it will really have him in his plans. I don't know what his contract situation is. I know he only signed last winter, but maybe is the Void want to gonna is he gonna want to keep him? Is he gonna want to try and integrate him into the team? I don't know. Is there a place for him in the team? Maybe if one or two wingers were to go. I know we just signed Rooney, but if Twardek was to go, if McDade was to go, is there a place for him there? Maybe, but I don't really see him as much of a winger either. I think he's probably better as a striker, but maybe he might stick around if Apalabi was to go. But I don't know. I think for me it would be go. It's a shame because I think he's a good player, but he just hasn't quite got into the team. Look, he had injuries as well, but yeah, I think it's probably best for him to go. Next is Bucko. It's obviously stay. I mean, he's the captain at the end of the day. Obviously, shame about how the season ended for him with that horrible injury that's going to keep him out for another few months, and not being there for the cup final that we lost, obviously, and just to make things worse, of course. And yeah, it's an obvious day. Look, I know he's still only what 31, 32. Like he's got still got a lot to offer. I know you could see it maybe at times last season he was lacking a bit of fitness. Obviously, he had a year out of football, so but yeah, no, it's an easy stay without a doubt. He's the club captain. He has to stick around. Um, Flores, yeah, I think it's a stay. I know I have a lot of players in stay, but a lot of them let us down last season. But Flores, I don't think was one of them. I thought when he played, he tried. I think he has a lot to offer still. He is. I know he lacks a bit of discipline at times. I know he got a couple of red cards last season, but he's a quality player in midfield with the ball at his feet. He can strike a ball. Obviously, we saw that with the free kicks he scored. And, he probably is. After Bucko, he's probably the closest thing to a leader we've got in that team. Obviously, I don't know what I say this with every player, but I don't know what his contract situation's like. Is his contract up? He's got another year or two on it? I don't know, but if I had it my way, I'd personally be keeping him. I'm going to leave Clark and Avalabi at the end. So we'll move on to McDade. Um, wasn't involved a whole lot. Probably didn't start as many games as he would have wanted. I think he's a decent player, but I think for him and his career, I think it's probably best for him to go. Nothing, I don't think he's a bad player. It's an interesting one because I think at times last season maybe he could have been in the team a bit more often. Um, I think if you've seen it in some games last season, he can be a good player, but I don't know. I think if he wants to kick on now in his career, I think he's about 27, something like that. I think maybe is he looking at maybe going elsewhere again. I don't know what his contract situation is, whether he's got another year or two. But yeah, I think it's probably best for him to go maybe because he hasn't quite. He's probably not. He's probably thinking that if it wasn't getting in the team last season, I don't know if it will be this season. So yeah, I think McDade probably for himself probably needs to go. McDonald, a bit of an up and down season last year. I thought he started off quite well. He tailed off towards the end, but I think I'd keep him. I think he's a solid option to have in that midfield. I don't really know what his best position is in that midfield. Though that's the thing. Is he a six? Is he an eight? I think he's probably better at six. He likes to tackle. He can offer you something going forward anyway. He got a couple of goals last season. He got a nice volley against Pats, I remember. So yeah, no, I know he had a bit of an up and down season, but I think we'd keep him. I think he's a decent enough player on his day. He's had bad games last season. I know I'm sure I think everybody in this list had bad games last season, but yeah, I'd be keeping him for me anyway, personally. McManus, I'm surprised we haven't seen much about maybe him getting linked with a move away. I'd definitely be keeping him anyway. Obviously, look, he's a smashing young player, really talented. He's probably going to get a move across the water very soon. Surprised we haven't heard much about it. Maybe we'll hear more in January when the window opens in the UK. But yeah, I'd be keeping him definitely. If we could keep him, that'd be very good. Obviously, he's an excellent young talent. He's going to be he has a very bright future ahead of him. maybe could he do it another year in the league just to maybe get that bit more experience under his belt. Obviously, he played a lot of games, but that was last season was probably his first full year of getting into the team consistently because he was in and out at times like he'd long when he was very young, like 16, 17. But yeah, I'd definitely be keeping him if he had the option. I know it mightn't go that way, but I'd be keeping him. John O'Sullivan next. Yeah, I think this is the easiest goal we have on the list. Rumored to be going to Shells, and I'd fucking pay for his taxi to go to Tolga right now if I had the choice. Yeah, a bit of a disaster. Let's be honest. Of a signing. Um, yeah, look, I don't think there's much more that can be said. It's an easy go for me. Yeah, look, that's that really. Next one, Twardek. Yeah, I think you could see it last season or at the back end of last season. I think the Vines more or less, washed his hands with him. I think he will be going. Um, yeah, and not that nothing against Warwick. I like him as a player. I think he's good. He's done well for us over. He was brilliant the first time round. Maybe not as good the second time round when he came back. But yeah, I think you could see it there back end of last season. I think the Vines more or less said, I don't know if he'll be in my plans going forward. And yeah, look, if he does go, which seems likely, look, best of luck to him. He has a lot to offer. In terms of an attacking sense, he likes to get on the ball and drive a fullbacks, and yeah, look, he always gave us all. I don't think you could ever question him being a lazy player or anything. So, yeah, look, I think it's just probably best for him to move on now. Look, nothing personal against him. He's been a good player for us, but yeah, I think for himself he probably has to move on. Dylan Conley next. I think there's a pretty easy stay. Brilliant at the back end of last season. Started off slow, but obviously the goal out in Galway and he was contributing a lot more in terms of assists as well, which is something that we sort of criticised him for, I suppose, that maybe he wasn't getting involved enough. But yeah, I'd definitely be keeping him. I think he's a great player. He works his socks off every match, and yeah, he'll definitely be. If I had him my way, he'd definitely be staying. Danny Grant, yeah, look, obviously only came in the summer. Didn't quite look up to scratch in terms of fitness, but I think give him a pre-season, I think he will be stronger. So I'd be keeping him. Obviously we know how talented he is. He's still only 23, 24, I think. So look, there's still a chance for him to come back to this league and be the player he used to be. Obviously the injuries and stuff that he had when he was over at Huddersfield, didn't help. But I think if we gave him a full preseason, work hard at it, I think he'll be a better player next season. We saw glimpses of it when he came in, of what he can offer, but maybe just not at that level that we saw from him previously. But yeah, I think give him a preseason, I think he'll be back to his old self. So yeah, definite stay for me. Ali Koo, yeah, probably time for him to go. Unfortunately, I think I'm surprised we haven't seen a bit more clarity on that because there was a lot of rumours about him leaving. Um, Even before the cup final, the Pats and Shales, I think were most rumoured. So yeah, I think I think he's a good player, Ali Coote. I like him as a player. I think obviously a lot of people gave him a bit of shit for. I think when the players did their sort of guard of honour to the fans after the Cork game, last game of the season. I think he went straight down the tunnel. I don't know. A lot of people gave him shit for that, but I think we have to appreciate what he did for the club. He gave us some great memories. You think back to the Pau game in the Aviva, the two goals, and some of the other great goals he scored for us. The one against Rovers in the cup as well. So, yeah, he's been a great player for the club. Don't get me wrong, but I just think right now it's probably best for him to move on. I think he probably wants that himself anyway. So, yeah, I think he'll probably go anyway. I think that's more or less it's probably going to happen fairly soon. Clark, yeah, it has to be a stay for me. We haven't really seen any clubs sniffing around, which is surprising considering how good he was last season. But like I said about McManus, maybe is their club waiting to pounce in January when the window opens there in the UK. We'll wait and see. But yeah, it's a definite stay. I think he confirmed back end of last season that he was signed for next year, which is great. Obviously, he's a smashing player. On the ball, driving our players. Just having the ball. Keeping it close to his feet. It's like no one can take the ball off him almost. He has an insane dribbling ability. Contributed massively last season as well. So Yeah, it's a definite stay for me, absolutely. On to another definite stay. It's Afolabi very clearly. Um, Sorry. Yeah, I think. Look, if I had it my way, he'd be staying, but it doesn't look like we're gonna get me way. Considering all the news that is coming out now about bids flying in from clubs in Belgium and in the UK as well. I think there was a championship team who bid 250 grand or something like that. Shrewsbury was linked as well. I can't remember the name of the Belgian club that want them. But yeah, I think once January ticks around, I think you'll definitely see him move on. Sadly, he's been a brilliant player for us. Obviously, the goals he scored last season, without them, God knows where we would have been. Obviously 15 goals, and obviously. We were hoping to see that from him at the start of this season. Obviously, when we signed him back there, 2 summers ago, or last summer, um, we knew that if we could get him fit and firing, he'd be brilliant in this league because obviously he had good pedigree. He was at Celtic and Southampton. We knew how talented he was. He was with the Orleans youth setup, and he just came on leaps and bounds this season. Obviously, getting the senior call up to the Orleans team, and that's obviously going to attract suitors. So, yeah, I think obviously if I had it my way, he'd be staying, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get me way. He'll probably be off come January, which is sad. But look, let's just hope, even though the recruitment's been terrible these past couple of seasons, that the club can find someone that can score as much goals as him. Look, we did it but no one said we'd be able to replace Georgie and be found after Lobby. So look, let's hope we can do the same here. But yeah, that concludes the tier list anyway. Let us know what you think. Would you is there any players that are having the stay category that you'd like to see go, or maybe even players in the goal category that you'd like to see stay? Let us know. Anything about that. What's your opinions on it? And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment down what you thought about the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.